It's time for another edition of Pet Talk with the Nebraska Humane Society.
What if you've been parents, pet parents, and now you're preparing to bring home an actual baby? You'll want to manage that changing dynamic.
And here to explain how, Pet Behavior Specialist Cathy Guinane.
Good morning, Cathy.
Good morning.
Who would you bring in with you today?
This is Teddy. Teddy's
Teddy.
a Shih Tzu mix. He's probably about 6. He seems to love absolutely everyone. Everything is a great time.
Any idea where his home was?
Well, I think he's been in a couple different places. The last person had him for like 4 months or so, I think it said on the surrender papers. He really likes people and would like to be with people. He's going to need a little help learning the house rules and things like that, and that it's a permanent situation, so he'll need a little adjustment help, but other than that, he's good to go.
Some interesting dental
Doesn't he?
alignment.
Yes, he does. It gives him good character.
Yeah, no, it's part of the reason as soon as you see him in person, you're like, oh, what a
Yes.
cutie.
You know, and he's a dog who'll need a little bit of grooming. Probably kids, you know, over 10 or 12 because he's kind of tiny.
What about retirees? Would he be a good fit?
Perfect. And he loves walking. He'll go walking with him, which is a great way to get people out and about.
Yeah.
And and he just thought everybody was great around here.
He's not a puppy. At 6
No.
years old,
He's
he's
not.
outgrown that phase.
Yes.
Right.
One of the things we're talking about today is when you have a baby,
Right.
bringing the baby home to the family pet.
Yes.
And sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge. I remember when we had a baby, they asked, do we have a dog? If you have a dog, they wanted you to take a blanket home of the baby
Yes.
so the dog could smell it. What do
Right.
you recommend here?
Same kind of thing, but the more things you can get out before, don't wait to get, especially if it's the first time, to get the crib and all those things out that the baby's going to use, especially things you're going to put on the floor. Don't wait till the baby's here. Put it out way ahead of time and let the dog sniff it and whatever, and that way you can always wash it, you know, but let the dog kind of get out of its system what all those things are and what
Used
they
to
smell
having
like.
them there.
Yeah, and so that they're normal. But where you know, if you're going to put the baby on the floor to play, where do you want the dog to be when the baby's on the floor? What's that blanket or whatever you're going to put on the floor for the baby, and where's the dog's place, and what does he get?
So in addition to the smells, the noises and the change of schedule are also things that come to mind. Can you
Yes.
simulate those?
Well, and especially if company, because lots of times when you have a new baby home, you've got lots of extra
Yeah.
company in the house. And if it's not something your dog is used to, you need to kind of prep that a little bit. But put a scheduler for the dog on the refrigerator. Dog needs to be walked, needs to be fed. So that way somebody else can take the dog for a walk, you know, but that way the dog's routine stays more normal. You know, I need to play with the dog at this time. Don't forget the dog.
Yeah.
So that way, the more normal we keep a dog's routine, the better the dog will be.
You have that prep time that comes prior to the baby. When the baby gets there in the house, so then you get the baby, put the baby on the floor.
No.
No, you don't put the baby on the floor. No, but I mean,
You gotta keep this safe.
Now we're getting parenting lessons from Cathy. No, but how do you get the dog and the new baby to acclimate to each other?
Think about what you want. The first thing the dog is going to want to do is sniff that baby's face because that baby smells good. But that's probably not the most appropriate thing. You can get little baby socks that you get from everywhere. Teach the dog to go and sniff those before the baby ever comes. So that way when the socks are on the baby, that gets him something to sniff those.
well, somebody's getting agitated, Cathy.
Yes.
Is he going to be all right?
Oh yeah,
Good.
I just am ready to go. That's my deal.
You have a seminar coming up for parents who are expecting
We do.
now or who plan to start a
Either way.
family soon.
Either
what
or
do you
both.
cover in this seminar?
We're going to cover all these kinds of things. We're going to give some more examples of some other things you can do as the baby starts to get more mobile. You know, dogs will get used to them when they're not mobile because they don't get into anything and they don't tottering around. And that's hard for dogs when they start moving again. Then it's like, oh my.
Yeah, and this is all free. And then you're also covering how to set those boundaries for the dog.
Yes. You know, giving the dog a place to be. When the baby's down here on the floor, where does the dog belong?
Yeah. What
You
happens
know?
when the dog and the baby, you've done everything you can do, and in some cases they're not going to get along, and obviously you've got to do what's best for the safety of your child.
You do. And if you can manage it, that's lovely. If you need to rehome your dog, that might have to be something that happens. But, you know, it's also teaching children where they need to be. You
Yeah,
know,
and
give
their
the dog,
boundaries as well.
yeah, give the dog a place to be and mark off so the kids know, I don't go near the dog if the dog is there.
Most of the time, do you see pets and babies getting along? You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Do you
I
see him
know,
looking?
the snaggletooth. But do they get along? Most time, dogs are real good with little kids.
If we do it right as adults, yes. But, you know, little kids don't need to be allowed to roll on top of the dog and that kind of thing. Dogs are not into hugging. That's a human thing. So kids need to learn how do you interact appropriately with the dog.
You've talked to us before about behavior in general and training, and that consistency is the most important part of it. When it comes to getting your dog used to the idea and the smells and the sounds and all, how long does it take and how early should you start?
Earlier is always better, just because then it becomes the norm. We don't want the dog to think that the baby is the reason all this is happening. Oh, this stuff has always been out. Oh, look at this just came in the door. It's the baby. Oh, okay.
Are dogs capable of resentment?
Yeah. They can get rather ticked off at you, especially because
Right.
their routine's going to
Because
be.
that's what
Well,
it is.
we
That's
know
what I
that.
Yeah.
perceive what you're saying.
What else do you
Yeah.
have going on at the Humane Society? Any other classes you want to tell people about?
Well, we've always got lovely classes. You know, you can always, Home Companion is one, we can all work on all of this stuff. Basic manners, you know, especially if your dog's not used to behaving appropriately with other people around, get a basic manners class before you have all kinds of company coming and going from your house.
I know you've told me time and time again.
Yes,
The
when you
biggest
have-
problem we have with our dog is when people come to the front door and they come in our house.
Yes.
The dog, she's like a different dog, a different mindset.
Yes.
And we need to work
It's
on
exciting.
that. Yeah.
It's fun. Well, that's better than she wants to eat them.
That's true.
You know?
She's really
So,
happy.
yeah, but it's just giving her that consistency. Where do I want you to be? What do I want you to do?
Yeah.
You know, I don't want my dog door bolting. You know,
Right.
what if your dog runs out and gets in the street?
Yeah.
You know, they can
It's a
get
problem.
hurt. Yeah.
The website we were just looking at, it's anyhumanesociety.org. You might have even seen on that rotating banner, they even have horses up for adoption. We talk mostly about dogs here
Right.
on our show,
Yes,
but
I'm
they
not
have
bringing a horse.
cats, critters of all kinds, including horses. And the full list of adoptable pets is available now. They update that pretty regularly at anyhumanesociety.org. And for any questions at all, if you're interested in adopting Teddy, that's not something you can call to do. You do have to do that in person. But you can get there around 11:30 or so. Adoptions open up at noon, but you could already have your application filled out and turned in. That way you just get into one of the meet and greet rooms and say
Look at
hello.
that smile.
Great. Thank you,
Got a
Kathy.
great face.
That's a
Thank
good-looking
you.
dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kathy. We appreciate it.